The three secrets to prayer nobody ever told you about before will completely change your relationship with God. When you understand these three secrets, your ability to pray, your willingness to pray, and the results you see from prayer will explode exponentially. The concept begins by understanding that there are things that try to stop our prayer life, but there is a way to break past that. This comes from the story Jesus shared about the wicked judge and the widow who wanted justice and went to the judge and asked him to avenge her of her adversaries, and he would not do it. Yet she pressed on past the obstacles. Why? Because she was hungry for something to change. When you get desperate and you are hungry for something to shift in your life, that will drive you past the obstacles in your prayer life and will push you into the place where you start tapping into these three secrets about prayer we're about to talk about in this video together. So let me start by asking you a question. Are you hungry for something in God? Do you need a shift? Are you tired of staying stuck? Are you coming out of a divorce that you need to heal from and figure out what you're going to do with your kids and dealing with custody issues? Are you tired of praying for someone you love to get saved or to come out of this mess and this lifestyle that they're in, yet the more you pray and the more you help, the worse the situation gets? Are you sick and dealing with something in your body or in your mind that won't leave you in peace and you're asking God for healing? You're doing everything the doctors are telling you to do, yet you're still struggling through this illness? Or perhaps you're frustrated on your job, feeling stuck like you can't move forward, and the relationship with your boss, no matter how hard you try and invest in it, it seems to get worse? Like, are you hungry for God to do something in your life? If so, let that hunger drive you to prayer and into these three secrets. The first being that God rewards us for praying. Now, I don't know about you, but I never prayed my entire life specifically for God to reward me. I wasn't looking for God to give me a reward just because I was praying. Yes, I was asking Him for certain things, and I wanted Him to give me the things I was asking for, but the concept of God rewarding someone for being a praying person was sort of strange to me, and I didn't really think about it, but I want to take your attention with me. First to Matthew chapter 6, verses 5 and 6, which tell us, when you pray, don't be like the hypocrites who love to pray publicly on street corners and in the synagogues where everyone can see them. I tell you the truth, that is all the reward they will ever get. But when you pray, go away by yourself, shut the door behind you, and pray to your Father in private. Then your Father, who sees everything, will reward you. Now notice He didn't say He will give you what you ask for, although there are scriptures in the Bible that do say that. It specifically says, go privately, pray, and then your Father, who sees what you are doing in secret, will reward you. Also, let's check out Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6, which tells us, and it is impossible to please God without faith. Anyone who wants to come to Him must believe that God exists and that He rewards those who sincerely seek Him. So there we have it again, that you are seeking God through prayer, obviously, and that He is rewarding those who do this in faith. So is God rewarding you a secret to prayer? Maybe, if you haven't considered it before, but the Bible does clearly state it. What is a secret I have found is that those I've talked to about prayer don't seem to understand what rewards God is giving us for praying. And there are three of those I'd like to share with you. Now, these are not the three secrets. The one secret here is the whole concept of rewards. I'm going to share two other secrets after this, but let's, under the banner of rewards, talk about the three rewards God is giving you for praying. The first is control. You get control of your life after you pray in God. You feel like perhaps your life is chaotic. You're chasing two rabbits and both of them are getting away. Your kids are here, your spouse is there, your head's focused on this, but then that's pulling at you. There's chaos, there's screaming, there's disorder, there's dysfunction. When you go and pray, even if you're not praying specifically about all of these things, just connecting with God and seeking Him, the Bible says that God is a rewarder. He is not a God of confusion, but of order. And when you begin to pray and seek God, He will bring control in your life. If you feel like your life is out of control and there's chaos and you just can't get a grip on things, then try praying. I guarantee you'll feel a sense of control, a sense of peace. The anxiety will subside, the worries will subside, and you will feel like you have more control over the things that are happening in your life. The second is direction. Oftentimes, we don't really know what to do. We feel like, I'll do it, God, if I just know what it is. But we try to find the answers often through social media, scrolling through Google, reading it in books, asking our friends, talking about it, fretting about it, complaining about it. But even if you go pray and you ask God about a specific situation that you need to make decisions in, and you don't hear directly from Him in that moment like some audible voice booming from heaven, there is a sense of peace that God will give you over time as you walk these decisions out, where He will steer you in the right direction. The Bible says the steps of a righteous man are ordered of the Lord. Whenever you are seeking God, he will direct your path. The Bible also refers to itself as a lamp to our feet. That doesn't mean it's going to shine a spotlight in front of the entire staircase, but it will show you the next step. One of the rewards of seeking God is that you will find direction in the areas of your life where you are needing to make decisions. And the third thing is protection. I truly suspect we don't even know how many accidents God has prevented from happening, how many times we almost got sick or almost got hurt and didn't and aren't even aware of it, because God's hand of protection rests upon those who trust in him. The Bible talks about us going to the shelter of the Most High and him protecting us and covering us. When you are seeking God, his hand is over your life, and through prayer, his protection is resting over you and over your home. If you are dealing with fear and have safety concerns, then understand that God is a rewarder of them who seek him and that he will protect those who follow him. So control, direction, and protection are all wrapped up under the one secret of rewards. But the second secret I'd like to get into today about those who pray is us understanding the reason for prayer from God's perspective. Now, the reason I'm calling this a secret is because often we believe that prayer is for us, that we need prayer. And yes, we do. It is absolutely vital. But on another level, prayer is not just for us, it is also for God. Consider it from his perspective for a moment. God creates heavens, earth, he creates all these animals. Everything in the cosmos, including the animals, yes, they're alive, the plants are alive, but they don't worship God or engage with God by choice. Plants by taking in sunlight, going through photosynthesis, animals by living out their natural course of life, doing what they instinctually do. They are indirectly worshiping God because they are doing what God created them to do. But it's more of an automatic process. Even the angels in heaven didn't become angels by choice, choosing to love God. He just created them to be who and what they are. So when God made Adam and Eve, he created a human being in his image with a free will to choose to talk with him and worship him, or choose to deny him and go their own separate way. So the reason for prayer, yes, is for us, but it's also for God. Prayer pleases God's heart. He created us to pray. Something I say often on this channel, and I get comments from both ends of sincere Christians who are surprised and mockers making fun of the concept, but this idea that God has feelings. The Bible is clear with God being angry, him being pleased, him being moved with compassion, him being patient, him being jealous. There's all sorts of emotions. The reason you have emotions is because you were created in his image. So this feeling of loneliness and wanting to connect with somebody else and wanting to love and be loved, that is in us as human beings because it is in God and he put it in us. So one of the purposes of prayer is for us to meet that desire in God, his heart wanting to connect with someone who is choosing to love him. When we understand this, it is mind-boggling to think that, yes, I'm going to pray for me and I'm going to get all these rewards and these benefits and God's going to answer my prayers and I'm going to grow in my walk with God. But at the same time, it's more than just me. It's also about him. Knowing that secret to prayer can expand your prayer life exponentially because you begin to realize that he's my friend and maybe I don't feel like talking to him today, but maybe he wants to talk with me, right? So the first secret is about rewards. The second one is about the reason, but the third one is about the routine. Now, whereas the last secret on the reason for prayer is a little bit more spiritual and for mature Christians, this one right here is very practical and can be useful for someone who is just starting their walk with God or someone who's been walking with God for 20 years but hasn't got this secret down. Honestly, the best way to develop a prayer life is to make the decision to be someone who prays and to do it every day. Go to the same place at the same time and just make the commitment and develop it into a routine. Just like you brush your teeth, hopefully at the same time every single day, you probably eat lunch around the same time every single day. Those aspects of your life are habits. Make prayer a habit. Developing any habit at first takes effort, but once we establish it, it just becomes normal routine. People who have a successful prayer life are not people who are struggling every day to pray and don't really want to do it and are constantly fighting it. We all go through that phase in the beginning, but we just fight through it and make it a routine. And then every evening, we're looking forward to the next morning when we can get to our prayer time. Or maybe even some of us are looking forward to it by noon that day. But as practical and as simple as it sounds, the third secret to prayer is to establish establish it as a routine, making it a daily habit, and that once it becomes that habit, it's pretty simple to just do every single day, as is brushing your teeth. So I hope these 3 secrets about prayer add value to your life. And if you feel like you're not the type of person who can pray, maybe because of abuse, trauma, sins, addictions, then I take you through the journey of walking through all of these things myself in my book, From a Great Mess to Greatness, which shows how we can be the most messed up, hurt, sinful people, yet God still reaches for us, loves us, and picks us up in the middle of our mess and turns it into something beautiful. So I've linked that for you down in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to join the community with the notifications bell turned on so we can see each other in the next video together.